Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Over the Moon is the first feature-length animation by Netflix, and it's a really good first outing. It's about a young girl named Feifei who builds her own rocket ship to the moon in order to prove the existence of a legendary moon goddess from fables told to her by her late mother.
It's just a silly myth. It's not a silly myth, it's real.
But along the way, she learns an important message about dealing with grief. Now this was surprisingly heartwarming, to a level that I honestly was not expecting from it. It's difficult for me to judge the technical execution of animation beyond the obvious, but I quite liked this one. And it got even better with the bright colors and semi-transparent objects that were introduced in the second act. This movie was also stacked with top-notch Asian American actors all the way down the cast list. And that's really important when you're telling a story not only about a Chinese family, but about their culture and their folklore. And this movie played a thin balancing act of not having any one actor overshadow everyone else or any of the characters. Everyone played their part, making these characters feel as real and grounded as possible. Some of the animals and fantasy creatures can get a pass on that. Now this movie was billed as a musical, but there really weren't that many songs in it. But the songs that were a lot of fun. And I'm glad this movie didn't try to pack in as many as possible, opting for just a few songs and key moments throughout the movie. But I did like watching the sequences on screen, and they fit the movie well for what they were. Now I did think that this movie started to lose the plot a bit in exchange for some of the spectacle in the second act, but I was happy when everything came back around to its main plot and the themes of it. This movie did feel a bit like Disney animation, through no fault of its own however. It's just hard for animated films not to be compared with what came before them from the bigger studios. But this film did do well to differentiate the uniqueness of its own story. But an even better story is the one surrounding the film itself. It was written by a screenwriter who is dying of cancer as a gift to her husband and daughter. Coincidentally, she was hired to write the script before the studio even knew she had cancer. But she was able to write this story about loss that mirrored her own personal message to those she loved and would leave behind. And although she unfortunately never got the chance to see the finished product, having passed shortly after production started, the final story was beautifully told, and I have no doubt that both her and her family would be proud of it. All in all, this was a really good animated film. It was about a subject that most of its intended audience aren't yet familiar with, but it's presented in such a relatable way and without getting dragged down by its own weight. And even the adults watching will still have a lot of fun while picking up on the message that was sent. It's got something for everyone, and it really is fun for the whole family. This may end up being my favorite animated film of the year. And I'm really rooting for Netflix to become a bigger player in this movie market, and if they treat their animation studio like they've treated their original shows and movies, then this is a really good sign, and I can't wait to see what they come up with next. Please let me know what you guys thought of Over the Moon in the comments below. If you haven't seen it yet, it's live on Netflix now, but before you go watch it, please be sure to give this video a like and subscribe. We've got new content coming out every week. But until next time, have a great day, and don't forget to watch a great movie. Bye.